Our next Gals Read book is called Wildfire, which is a story about a young lady named Juliana who loves her life living in rural Oregon. Her family has a little farm with some farm animals, and they've got forest all around them. The story opens up showing signs about fire danger being very, very high. It was a very, very dry season, and she's finished with her 4-H club activity for the day, and she sees an old friend, Carson, who's isn't really interested in the 4-H club anymore. Instead, he's hanging out with other boys behind the convenience store, drinking soda and playing with fireworks, and not really interested in the same stuff. And so that's kind of annoying for her, but she moves on. They're out there playing with fireworks, and it's made very clear that, hey, that's not very smart to do. There's the fire danger going on right now. But they just shrug it off. And just a couple pages later, Juliana is at home with her little sister, and they start to comment about the funky color up in the sky's being the wrong color, and something smells weird. And that is the disaster that you would expect. Those of us living here in Fairbanks know a little bit about that change of sky color and that smell in the air. So they get that scary call from Dad, who's rushing home, that they need to grab, just the essentials, the most important things. They've got about 10 minutes. And that's pretty tough for a girl her age, for anyone really. But we see some of the images of them rushing to leave to get to safety, and all the cars lined up. So it rocks her world. We see the devastation of the fire. And they moved to Portland. That's really the best option that they had available to them. They moved to Portland, which is a big culture shock for her and her family. Big city, that means obviously a new school, new friends, whole new experience. And it's very different for this young gal from a rural Oregon farm forest town. And unfortunately, her former friend, Carson, one of the boys who had been playing with fireworks, he also ends up transferring to this school. And she's not happy about that. She wants to just move on from this. She doesn't tell people that she came from that part of the state that had burned up this summer. She's just trying to just move on with her life. At home, there's a lot of discussion with the other family members about, why it happened, what happened. In her mind, she's like, nope, it's just because of stupid boys and fireworks. Parents have different feelings about, climate change and the importance of them being active in pushing for changes. And so it kind of presents a couple different views in a fair way. And everyone obviously is dealing with the trauma of the loss of their home and just the transition that came just in a flash. So Juliana eventually is invited. She joins this conservation club. And this conservation club is focusing on, taking care of the planet, being good stewards. They have different projects like a river cleanup. They end up going back to her old area in the rural part of Oregon, doing some reforestation work. And people still at this point don't know that that's where she's from, and she's kind of kept that hidden. It was nice for her to be there and see it, but it's also overwhelming because she's having a lot of these flashbacks to the experience of evacuating her home in almost no notice. Meanwhile, the other members of her family have been participating, in more activism, going to protests and whatnot, and pushing for some changes. And Juliana has focused on her efforts of dealing with the changes in her life just with this conservation club. But eventually, one of the students wants their next activity for the conservation club to be going to a protest and taking part in that. So now the rest of her family's way of dealing with this overlaps with her way of dealing with this. It's too much. She has a breakdown right there at one of the rallies, and that leads to more heartfelt discussion of her opening up to teachers and parents and having conversations of the focus on healing and things that are and are not within our control. She does eventually, as you would hope, have the heart-to-heart with this Carson boy as she accepts just the reality of things and that he's going through his own experience. So she does find her passion. She continues with this conservation club, and she's able to get her own kind of project going that is important for her healing process. So that is Wildfire, about young Miss Juliana.